Well, what's the crack, everybody? How are you getting on? Welcome to another episode of the Tom O'Mahony Show. Guess what? I'm Tom O'Mahony. How are you keeping? Are you well? It is Friday I'm going to say 17th. I think it's 17th of May. As you would have gotten this, Patrons, as I always, got this the night before. Hey, I want to tell you about a couple of gigs coming up this Friday. Tonight, I'm losing my mind. Tonight, this Friday. Today, as you will be hearing this, or if you're hearing it later than this, then the other day. Tonight is... Oh wait, why am I even telling you? It's sold. It's sold out. My brand new comedy club at the Dungarvan Comedy Club at 360 Cookhouse is with Fred Cook, and it's sold out. But you know what? If you're like, damn it, I would have loved to see Fred. Well, he is in my other comedy club, the motherland of my comedy club. The other one over in Cllr in Tipperary at the Hill. There are tickets still available for that on Saturday the 25th. There are tickets for Neil Delamere on the 29th of June in the Hill, but they're nearly sold out. I don't know, will he do a second one for me? But look, get your Fred ones, get him now. He's not to be missed. He's absolutely class. Very, very, very much looking forward to that. If you are going, Jesus Christ, I never listened to this fella before. I have a rake of podcasts, lads. Not just the ones. I'm addicted. I have a problem. Not just the ones where you're looking at this number going, Jesus Christ, there's a rake of them. I also have two other podcasts on the go. I have one called Banana and Bears Rugby Pod, where I share it. I say I don't just have it. I share it with Anna Capeless, former Irish rugby and current La Rochelle back rower, who is a fountain of knowledge when it comes to actual rugby and is possibly funnier than me too. So go over and find Banana and Bears Rugby Pod. As well as that, the Tom and Jerry Show is back strong, going weekly and never quitting. We ain't dying. We're on our 6th episode of the brand new format. So it's the brand new Tom and Jerry Show. If you're wondering, who are Tom and Jerry? Well, go have a gander. There's 70 odd episodes of that. There's lots and lots. I've loads more gigs coming up, so follow me on all the usual platforms. Just because they're all over the map. They're everywhere. If you're going, just maybe it'll be around, go ahead, have a gander. I will be posting about them. I do post daily on the Instagram, at least, if you want to get a flavour of what kind of foul carry on we were talking about when we talked about it on this episode. Then there's no shortage of clips up on Instagram. Moving on to today's guest, very, very excited. We recorded in the green room of my beloved Hill Comedy Club in Cllr, which was a perfect place because that's where she'll be having her launch rally this coming weekend. A great person, has introduced me to the actual benefits of local politics and paying attention to them and whatnot. It's the mighty Councillor Máirín McGrath. Máirín McGrath.
Yeah. How are you getting on?
Grand. I just shocked you there, like, Jesus Christ. Welcome to the green room of the Hill Comedy Club, by the way.
I'm delighted to finally be here. I've been downstairs, I've been at the comedy club, but I've never been exclusive enough to get upstairs.
Do you know what? You will be one of the very few that'll ever be allowed up here. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm on it.
It's some wild things have already been said to each other as comedians. Yeah.
From what I've seen downstairs, in front of a crowd, I can only imagine what goes on in here.
It's weird and dark, but you have to go there to get yourself up to that.
Yeah,
because
get into the zone.
You can't walk down and go, well.
No. When they come down, they're ready for us.
Yeah, but you know what? You feel it in the room, though. That room, everybody's saying it like it's what's known as a hot room. Like not because we have an actual brand new air conditioning system in
Tom
it.
Carl.
Tom Carl and Marie Carl.
And Marie, happy days.
But everybody says it. They're like, Jesus Christ, you can't come into this in first gear.
Telling
you know what I mean?
Honest to God, like, it's great, and every time I've been there, it's been a full house.
The last night was fairly wild, wasn't it?
That was something else.
I normally you get a couple of maybe one or two clips that you can just throw up as promo and stuff like that. I'm like, Jesus Christ, there's about 20 clips here, and I'm having to bunch them together nearly. I don't want to, pepper people with it.
But like, what I thought was the funniest was, when your intro slot was there, and you just made such comedy out of who was in the room before any of your guests were here. Yeah, like it was just, oh my God. Well, I thought there were plants in the audience.
So do I sometimes. I'm like, this front row is getting better and better, like.
And I made the mistake of being in the front row the first time I was here. Gee.
I warned you, and you still came in late, being a pure politician.
No.
You landed in going, geez, I was at 10 funerals there, Tom. Sorry. And you come in and...
And I was with my two friends, and I was like, guys, I think we actually need to go. And they're like, no, but should we have tickets? I was like, yeah, but I think it's like in then. And everybody's staring at you and like, where do they think you're going? no 3 seats together. So I took one for the team and sat in the front row.
Yeah, you did.
We'll never do it again.
Yeah. I didn't.
Do you know what? You didn't go too hard on me.
No, I didn't.
But it was funny, and I accepted it. It was good.
To be fair, 99, and you can spot the people that are no way, and there's a kind of flicker in their eye that says, if I go here, this will fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there was a chap in the front row, and he was kind of looking at me like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, he was sweating through his nostrils, you could see him. But I just had a feeling all I'd be doing is poking a poor old devil now who...
I know, who's not able for it.
He's going to say he's in accounts. He's going to say,
He already doesn't like his life.
Do you knew by him, like, he was... And he came up and shook hands with me. He said, hey man, thanks so much for not talking to me afterwards. I was like,
No, I know, it's too good, but like, you just get everything out of people, do you know?
You know, it's mad. It is mad how people, especially the more and more I do crowd work, because I was never really a crowd work comedian, but I forced myself here opening my own club. I went, no, because I don't want to step on the material side of things, because people will, there's a role for the host and a role for the comic.
Yeah.
And I did not say never the twain should meet, but at the same time, you gotta get the crowd going.
For sure, and I think as well, because it's like it's such a cool venue, it's so intimate. Everybody, and it's a small area of people, everybody knows each other, so like it makes it even funnier. Do you know? And when you rip the piss out of somebody there, everybody else in the audience likely knows who they are or about them. Do you know? So they can all join in and
I'm
laugh.
spoiled rotten with that place. I've said it before. I go, would you stop laughing so hard? I'll be trying a new bit of material and think, well, that's perfect. I don't ever need to touch that. That's ready for stage.
Absolutely. And like the amount of people that I've met since, and they're like, Jesus, I was in a Tom O'Mahony's comedy club tonight. He was calling the audience. I was like, oh, stop. But anyway, sure, look, it was grand. We got over it.
Yeah. Like,
as they say, no publicity is all publicity is good publicity.
100%.
Or there's no such thing as bad publicity.
100%. Yeah. Like, and to be fair, being in politics, there's a lot I could have gone after. Now, but I didn't.
You could have. That is fair.
Yeah.
And I came out of that night at the pub and I said to my friends, do you know what? It was grand. I accepted it. I took it on the chin. It could have been way worse.
It's like you sound like somebody who's been to like a root canal or something. Like, lads, honestly, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, but I'll never make the mistake to sit there again.
Yeah, you were in the darkness the last day, but I did make reference to you. I was very tempted to go down after you actually on that one.
Yeah,
but I went, we're on a roll here with this mad young one that was going, hey, are you from Banshee? Or something like that. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what is this? Like, have you not picked up on what the role of me is tonight?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, no, but it's great, but that's what I think is so special. It's because the whole community, do you know, there is a kind of community vibe to it now.
That's what I love about it.
Do you know, and like you have the same people coming back all the time, and it's brilliant, and it's a credit to you too, because like, you know, you started it from nothing. It was, and what do we call it, the best comedy club in Ireland?
It's the best comedy club in Ireland. I don't care.
Absolutely.
I don't care. Any of the comics coming here, and you see the comics that could possibly be. I'll tell you off air.
We'll keep the secrets.
But by God, the word has gotten out. Yeah, you got to.
Well, your lineup now for the next while is really good, and I often, like, people have said to me, God, I haven't been in there yet, and it looks class, like.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, get there. And they always say, well, by the time I get to book my tickets, it's sold out.
That's it. Like, there's nothing I can do about that, but at the same time,
it's hard being so popular.
But what do you know what it is though? Is I think we're breeding a comedy, like we're breeding a comedy vibe down here that Irish people don't have. Like if you're in the UK, a town this size will have a comedy club.
Yeah,
they just go to stuff you see in the UK. It's a thing since I'd say Shakespearean days. It's just in their genetics to go. Well, we'll hand over the night's entertainment to the person on the stage, and they'll go and they'll sit there. Like I did gigs. I did a one-man play before, and it did fine here in Ireland, and it's a big play. It was a big production, and it's...
a lot of work.
Oh, my God, 16,000 words.
Oh, my God.
2 hours on stage, and
that is tough.
The toughest thing I've ever done in my life. But I remember we went up the north, and to theatres that were in areas that wouldn't be synonymous with a fellow called O'Mahony.
Yeah.
Or with my accent.
Yes.
Full.
No way.
Because they didn't care. It was a thing to be on. The man was on the stage.
Something different, yeah.
And why wouldn't you go? It's on.
No, absolutely. But I think that's, people are getting into that now.
Yeah.
And it's just something different, totally. Because like the two girls I went with the last time were different to the two I went before. And like all the time I people say, oh, I'd love to go to that. Like, do you know, it's something else, something different to do. And like, you have, and like, do you know, as soon as those sliding doors close downstairs, you know, the gloves are off.
Well, I think by people, and it's possibly, I mean, you have to have your finger on the pulse doing your job and everything else, and you're literally talking to people at their doorstep in their most comfortable area, which is what I take them out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, for sure.
But what people come up to me and say, you know, real people who put a lot of thought into the night, 90% of the people, I want them to just leave their brain away.
Yeah.
But some people are very thoughtful. We get a lot of people who are into like mindfulness coming. There's a lot of local mindfulness people.
Yeah.
But they come and you see their stories afterwards tagging me in it going, they're way deeper than I meant it to go. Like, I was like, Jesus Christ, trust me, I'm way shallower than that.
Yeah.
Like. But what I notice is people kind of going, Jesus Christ, this is the valve we needed, because they're feeling the pressure of the PC world. I don't feel it personally.
Yeah.
But I'm their conduit to the
the normal world.
It's like the vent
to what was
from the bunker,
world.
you know.
No, for sure.
Because I say in here it's just words, and we're gonna have some crack.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people find it refreshing.
Yeah,
they're like, oh Jesus, we can say whatever we want.
Yeah, whatever you want, whatever you want.
No, it's great. But you just made reference. You say you go and take them out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Your audience, and when I'm at the doorstep, I'm trying to compliment them, and you just bring them in here and you insult them. So that's where we differ. Do you know, I'm at the door looking for votes and, you know, having a great chat, and you just rip people to shreds downstairs.
Ironically, though, I'm giving exactly what they want.
Oh, 100%.
Oddly, it's
Maybe
weird...
I should try that tact. I wonder how it go at the door.
I'm telling you now, I would challenge you right now, and I've challenged a few people, and they won't take me up on it. 5 minutes of stand-up.
No.
Why not?
Couldn't. Oh my God.
We would build you to a 5 minute opening act. I could build you. I could write it with you. Write it for you, and then train you. I've done it before with people. Loads of people. I've done public speaking courses for people.
Yeah.
I swear to God. And we keep it clean. We absolutely keep it clean. Keep it image friendly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, enough funny self-deprecation in it that a Tipperary person has, because we have that deep in us.
But with my job and the different stories I find, I mean, like you could make a good few scenarios and good few jokes out of it, but I don't think I'd be able for it.
I think you would. I think it'd be a good place to push yourself, because once you break that glass in your brain doing stand-up, everybody says that once that glass is broken, it never goes back to... You're never the same again afterwards. People
do usually say that politicians are a joke, but don't think they aren't the people that make the jokes. Well, we'll consider it.
Zelensky went on to be president of the Ukraine.
True.
And he was...
an actor?
He was an actor. He used to get his genitals out and play piano on stage.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm not saying you got to go there.
Oh. No. God, I did not know that.
Yeah.
So they kept it clean when they said he was just an actor.
Yeah.
That's what I knew.
Yeah, no,
They kind of wiped that one from the Google search.
Yeah, he was... yeah, the Americans can do that for you if you need them to.
It's all about your friends. You know who your friends are.
It's a thing, I think, though, that it was able to help him to just immediately switch into whatever gear he needed to do. Like, you'll often find that with stand-ups. It's not that we're good actors or whatever, but you just kind of go, well, I can go to a place anywhere in my mind because I've done the scariest thing you can do.
Yeah, and put on a different hat for whatever scenario.
For whatever scenario. Like, I do a midweek podcast, and I talk about the gigs that I do, because I do corporate gigs. And it's so different, like see
into the other world.
Oh well, it's so different for me. Like too, you're kind of going. I'm not radio voice Tom, but at the same, and there's a bit of ribbon goes on, like, but at the same time, it's suit and tie stuff, like, it's very, very different. Do you know?
I have to see you in action.
Yeah, it's enough. Like you'd be probably go. I'm actually more impressed with him right now that he's holding it together, that he's not swearing, because there are some knobs in this scenario. Like,
I can imagine some of the big companies or whatever. You just.
I mean, what you get a lot of the time is people from, like, I did one from Microsoft Middle East a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
that was weird. It got even super weird. It got super weird in the Burlington one night. It was
and
like,
do
Jesus.
people just sure, it's comedy. Like,
I know I won't do stand up. I refuse to do stand up for them.
Okay.
I refuse. They can go get somebody else if they want that, because I actually think it's for me it's the most precious art.
Yeah.
Outside of my family, it's the most precious thing I have, and there's no way I would allow it to be dirtied in that. It's like having a class car and going, any chance you put a trailer on the back of it, you know. It's the same thing, but what I'll do is I will just crowd work, walk around and do crowd work with them, like, and stuff like that, and make sure there's prizes to be given away and stuff. Just,
cool. Yeah.
And we again though, I bring it down to fairly base level, I do.
I seen you in action doing that kind of work as well. Sure, you helped out at the Down Syndrome Day. In Cllr, you know, the fundraiser in Cllr House. For
Donishka.
With the daughter Donishka. Yeah,
that was actually
brilliant.
great. Do you know what? That was fair heartwarming for me even afterwards. I was like, because you know, again, in my head I was switching on whatever hat, going, all right, no cursing.
You're in your Daniel.
Yeah, I was Daniel O'Donnell. But at the same time, I was kind of going, oh God, do I have the energy for this? And I got to drive to Belfast afterwards. But at the same time,
I know I roped you into that. You got caught. You got caught.
So if you refused to do this podcast, we were going to have a falling out.
Yeah.
But
I know what you would.
I came away and I went, oh, I get it now. I get why you would work locally with people. But I get it here even, because it's very local. And I'm absolutely, like, I would fight to the death for that club. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's just, as you said, the community of people, the buzz that they're getting. And it is much easier for me when I can say, out Finnan. You know, and slag Galbly. You know, where other people don't get that opportunity when jumping on stage.
Exactly,
but
it's the local nature of it.
That's what I love about it. And I was nearly a bit guilty at first because I'm going, I have one up on every comic that will ever step on the stage. But now I just go,
take it.
Take it.
Yeah. No, what I laughed, what I found so funny is the last night, I don't know, it was Barry, you know, we know Barry, we won't give any second names, but like recently got a tip done and you told the whole audience. I was like, this guy knows everything about everyone. Yeah. And Barry was running in late from the toilet. Yeah. And
but to be fair to Barry was like, he was coming every month and he went, Tom, I won't be around now next month because I'm getting a new hip. I'm like, well, you just told me that, Barry. I think I don't think that was my first question. I think I asked him before. I asked him the whole operation from the stage one night.
Oh, no way.
I said, did you get any cool stuff attached? Like maybe a penknife or something? Like he was just, well, he loves it. Like but that's what I love is like he's nearly part of the furniture. And there's a few people like Pat Rossiter and Melanie, you know what I mean? They're part of the furniture. They're just going and have a go. Yeah. And sometimes real newbie people go, oh, Jesus Christ, did he just say that to that gentleman?
I know.
And he's like, no, you're fine. I love it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because sometimes I'm like, oh, gee, everybody knows about Barry's hip now.
Yeah.
For the listeners, Barry's hip is going good. He's out canvassing with me.
Delighted.
Times. I'm telling you, it's working well.
Titanium.
I'm telling you.
He said he was going out canvassing. Now, let's get into the meat and bone. We've been kissing my arse for the first 15 minutes. But here's the thing, right? I steer away. A lot of my friends are so deeply into American politics and stuff like that. And I'm like, but we don't live in America. Yeah. Why do you care?
I know.
I lived in America and I didn't care about the politics then. Mm-hmm. But it is it is soap opera. And they paint a great story, whether you like it or not. But when I see people getting influenced by it, you know, I'm quite left or I'm quite right. I mean, you're like, you're what? You're from Ballinasloe. Shut up. Like, you know?
No, for sure. We're gone very into like identity politics and people. What I think is the saddest thing about the way society's gone now is just like you're either one way or you're not, and we can't talk to the ones over there because they don't agree with me. I think that's so bad for any society. Do you know? Because everybody has differences and everybody has similarities. Do you know? And like politics is always the art of collaboration and working together and compromise. But like I think because we're getting so into like that deep and identity politics, and it's very divisive now.
I just think I blows my mind when I meet smart people that I know are smart and they make their opinions on things purely based on the tribe that they've attached themselves to.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, even when I played for teams and stuff and played sports, I would disagree with scenarios because I was like, I'm calling a spade here in the moment here. Like.
Yeah, but that's what people appreciate. Someone who'll just say how they feel. And you know what? I suppose like we are obviously a couple of weeks out from an election at the moment. So I'm out morning and night knocking on doors. So you meet everybody. And like you said, like in their most comfortable area, like at their front door. And I appreciate, someone will tell you they're voting for you. Someone will tell you they're not voting for you. Yeah. I'm like, that's as good as anything. Because there's no point everybody saying they're going to vote for you because they're not. Do you know?
That's 100%. It's nearly like me giving out to people for laughing too hard at jokes that I'm like, lads, it's not that funny. I know what funny is. I know the mathematics and what makes the thing funny. You're just all on a buzz right now.
Yeah.
So
you just need some cue cards.
Yeah.
Laughter, please, applause.
That's a thing in China. Did you know?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I had a Dawn Wong is her name. She's actually married to a Galway man. They live in Shanghai. And she was saying some clubs, they actually have like cue cards for the audience. But they're actually cue lights.
Yeah.
For people to know when to laugh. At these established comedy clubs, the underground scene, people know what they're at, but the underground scene is illegal.
Okay.
Because it goes against the
the
Ministry of Art. Yeah. You have to submit your whole, the mad riffing that I do for...
Yeah.
None of that. You got to submit your entire set, filmed on camera, and the text of it. Submit your set to the Ministry of Art. They will either approve it. If they approve it and you take it to the club and you deviate from it and they find out, huge fine. You might do time in jail.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But like in saying all that, like whatever is wrong with our country, and we're lucky we're not there. Like,
I know.
know.
Oh yeah.
You can still say what you want downstairs in the hill.
We want to clarify the Chinese fine bunch of lads.
Absolutely.
Jesus.
How did we get here?
Yeah, we ended up in China.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about like the canvassing side of things. So, okay, we'll start there, right? Because I'm new to local politics. We have your rally at the weekend here at the Hill. And I'm very new because I never involved myself in it before because an odd thing happens to you as a stand-up comedian too. You become very lone wolfish.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody with you on stage. You're not in a band. You're not in a troupe. You're not in a cast.
Yeah.
So you do find yourself just going, well, I'll just paddle in my own canoe and, oh wait, we're not even considered an art form.
Yeah.
So, you know what?
Which is shocking.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
It just will not be touched. It will never be touched in Ireland.
In case you insult a few.
I guess so, yeah. I guess so. But look, you can be a juggler. And be an artist.
Come on.
Now, I'm sure there are ways around it where you could submit possible, but look, but regardless, that's how I always kind of felt. It was like, well, and places I lived too. I lived in Dublin. I lived in Wicklow and stuff. And I was like, well, I don't even really feel part of any community here. And I cared not for Europe. And I sure as hell didn't care for my local area.
Yeah.
All I ever, and this is what happens to Tipperary people. I don't know what, like it's
Till
ridiculous.
you came back to your roots.
Oh my God, your accent even gets thicker when you move away.
Yeah.
There's a society in Dublin, a society of Tipperary people.
Yeah, of course.
There's a society of Tipperary bar owners.
In Dublin?
In Dublin.
I know there's a Tip Society, all right.
Yeah.
I've been at a few of their gigs. I was in college in Dublin, and obviously, like, Dad spends a lot of time in Dublin as well. So, do you know, they always have their annual Christmas mass and their other things, you know. So that's something we used to always go to. But yeah.
Now I'm back down here, and now I'm paying attention because homeowner and stuff, and as maybe I'm about to grow up, maybe is what it is like. But I'm actually concerned about things in my local area, and can we make it better? And that's why also with parties, I'm like, again, not that I distrust anybody who's walking down the street or whatever, but you're a party, you're taking orders from the party.
Yeah.
Truth be told, you're towing the party line and you've no choice really in that. As soon as you deviate from that, you are out, you know what I mean? If for the people here who don't pay attention to America or Irish politics, and we do get American listeners, look at what happened to Kennedy. As soon as he started looking good, get out.
Yeah.
You know, and now he's running by himself.
And I think that's why the independents are on the up. Like, obviously, I'm an independent councillor at the moment, and like, I grew up in politics. Like, do you know?
Yes.
No other 26-year-old would be.
Very
few. There is some, but very few.
The posters are hilarious, actually, because it's like
hate them.
No, your posters are great, but what it is it's like, let's just say exactly who you imagine are on posters as politicians all around the local area, and then you hit Máirín, because there's a Marie. Sorry, it was right beside you when I turned up there. I'm like, oh. There's a jump.
Yeah. I do a lot for the average age. I bring it down a lot.
That's good. Yeah.
No, because when I went the last time, I was 21, which was crazy when I think back. Like,
what?
you know, 21, I got elected. Yeah.
What did you study in college?
Politics and all.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, come on.
If you studied fine arts and history.
So I was 21. It was crazy back in 2019. But I was just finishing. So like, there was 8 kids in my family. And like,
wow.
Yeah, so obviously...
Hold on. What?
Yeah, 8 kids.
I didn't think Mattie went home.
Yeah, no.
He went home 8 times.
Yeah,
Anyway.
so 8 kids. We always say that he was really strategic. He built a campaign team just in his house, you know, every night out. And we grew up with that. Like, and in one sense, it's brilliant. We love it. And like, election times are brilliant. And I think I got the short straw because I'm the one that actually was like, oh yeah, you would be the one now to take it on. You go on in there. Whereas like none of my other siblings are in it publicly, like, or want to go into it like publicly into elected office.
How did you get harangued
like
then?
I said, I got the short straw at home. Like I remember everybody like sitting around the table. They're like, so the local elections are coming up.
No way. It was like, well...
No. Yeah, it has to be one of me.
Here's some straws.
Yeah. And no, I suppose all the way up, like through school and through college, I was the one that was kind of more involved or more engaged, with politics and different stuff. So it was kind of a natural progression. People were like, sure, why wouldn't you do it? Yeah. You just did politics in college. Like, what do you think you're going to do?
It would have been hilarious if you went.
You're not allowed to go to Australia. Yeah. No, but it was great. Like, so... The last election was 2019 and it was like 4 weeks out. I was finishing my degree in college. I had to take a week out of those 4 weeks to go and sit my final exams. Like my lecturers had seen it online or whatever. And they were like, what? How are you going? Like, you're going for election and you're here. Like,
that's
and like one lecturer.
Hilarious.
Like, yeah.
The other people in your class were probably thinking, I'll go on to teach this.
Yeah.
I'll go on maybe to be a journalist or something. And you're actually going, sorry, I gotta go be what I'm. What you're teaching me to be.
And like, but that's the thing about college, because like when I was in college and it was in Dublin, I worked like part time for another TD in the Dáil, like by night.
Oh right.
Not Mattie, just for someone else, just doing a bit of office work, whatever. So like one night a week, I'd go in to Leinster House, and so then like by day you'd be in college and you'd be learning all this political theory, and then you go into Leinster House and you're like, oh, that's gone out the window. Yeah, none of that happens. So right. It's kind of funny because you're just like, this is a load of, and like college is great, but college is not the be all and end all for anyone or anything, no. And like sidetracking there totally, like that's where I think like the growth and like apprenticeships and stuff are class. It's great to see, because there was a stage where like, oh, everybody has to go to college. You all have to get level 8.
Me, I don't think I wanted to go to college. I wanted to be a welder.
Yeah, exactly.
But college, and because my 2 sisters are very smart, they just went, well, you have to go to college because, well, let's be honest,
shame.
And also, the government were putting pressure to go, we need more construction engineers and we need science, and that's literally what. As 4 siblings, that's what we went into, one or the other.
Yeah, really,
Yeah, and so, but it was the same thing. I remember thinking, God, Jesus, I reckon it could be really creative sculptor with welding. I was good at it. Yeah. But nah. Off to college you go. And my parents had no pressure. They were like, whatever.
Yeah. But it was just a kind of societal view, and just even through schools, I think, at the time. But now that's thankfully changing. But going back to college, and like, I remember my very first day of college back in 2016, and like, for all the podcast listeners who don't know, I'm obviously Mattie McGrath's daughter. Yes. Famous/infamous TD, depends on what way you want to look at it. That's fine. But my very first day at college, like Mattie has had his few public hiccups, like, one day back in, I think, like 2012, Enda Kenny, Taoiseach at the time, was on the front cover of Time magazine. Time magazine, and like it was like this big thing, but like the country was just at the bottom.
Oh,
at the stage. We were literally up Schitt's Creek at that stage, and everyone said how great it was, and Kenny. Now maybe I have the year wrong, but somewhere around that era anyway. Things were bad.
2019 was your final year, and then
2016 was when I was in college. But like, at the time when Endo was Taoiseach, he was on the front of Time magazine. So Mattie, being Mattie, stood up in the door and he was like, everybody's talking about Enda Kenny, like, on Time. So what he meant to say was that he's on the front of Time magazine, they're as if he's on Playboy magazine. They're making such a big deal out of it. So of course he minced his words. So he turned around.
I'm going to try and look for that clip actually to drop that in.
Oh my God. So he was like, everybody talking about Enda Kenny on the front of Playboy magazine. That's what he said. Like, and everybody like then kept talking and everyone was laughing, or like in the Dáil chamber, and they're like, what did I say? So anyway, some smart house with good Photoshop skills, like went online, got a photo of Mattie reading some book, photoshopped Playboy into it, like, and that
brilliant.
That photo just went viral. You know, it was no, definitely humiliating at the time.
Yeah.
But like when you grow up in a family like mine, you just have to grin and bear it. You know, you take it on the chin. Yeah. So we got over it. But that was back, like, I was in secondary school at that time. So fast forward back to my very first day of college. Very first day, knew one person on this big lecture hall of about 300 people. It was just like an induction.
Yeah.
And like one of the course coordinators, he was doing, just introduction to DCU and all that crack. And he said, look, enjoy college, blah, blah, blah. Get involved in the societies. I don't want the library to be like the only place I see you.
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
And then like flicked next slide. Be like Mattie. Don't be afraid to pursue other interests. There's my dad on the screen reading Playboy. And like the one girl I knew in the class, she was sitting in front of me, and she looked back at me and she was like, and I was like, oh my God. I was actually, but like nobody else knew me in the class. 300 people. And I so really quickly like took a snap of it, and like I found it funny. I was like mortified, but like
brilliant.
Did not like water off duck's back, didn't bother me at all. Found it hilarious, sent it into my family chat, and I was like, oh, for God's sake, this is the start of it now, my first day of college, and I'm already like humiliated.
Dad.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. So tweeted it, because the lecturer in question is a big tweeter, like, and he's like grand gas.
He just told you to enjoy yourself, so why not tweet it?
Yeah. So, but I tweeted and I was like, something like my first day of college and this happens. So hilarious, like laughing. He wasn't sure then, was I being serious or laughing? Sent out a clarification email that evening, but like, just to let you know, the picture I put up was a Photoshop, didn't mean to cause any offence. Like, again, still laughing. And then a couple of months later, still going to that lecture, obviously, never had met the lecturer one-to-one, had to ask him for an extension. And I was like, this is okay.
I got you.
Down the steps into the lecture hall. And I was like, just looking to see, can we get like an extension on this? And like, face immediately red.
Yeah.
And he was like, are you Máirín McGrath? I was like, yeah, I am. It's grand. And he was like, can I just say I'm so sorry? Like, really, really sorry. And I was like, oh, come here. Like, that's old news. Like, whatever. It's grand.
Brilliant.
And he was like, no, like, I actually thought I was going to get in serious trouble. Like, do you know, someone else could have picked it up the wrong way. And I was like, yeah, they could. Do you know, I was like, come here. Like I said, water off a duck's back. But like, it's just kind of where we're at now. People can't really take jokes.
But that was the start of it. That was the start of, around then was the start of that, I'm seriously insulted.
Yeah, for sure. No, but I was just like, oh, come here. Like, that was hilarious. I got great mileage out of that. I'm still telling the story. And it's nearly 10 years later, like, you know. And people love the story. And I was like, it's hilarious.
But you, like, you do... Like, I think to own it in that scenario, and obviously Mattie didn't give a damn. He was like, "What? What did I say?"
Yeah.
You know, it's neither. And and you'd find opposition politicians. I've noticed that. Like, and I'm kind of I've been highly unimpressed by a lot of them who I've met. That's the truth of it. Like, because I've hosted a lot of corporate things and stuff, and one or two like have tried to run a mile from the scenario. I'm like, Jesus Christ, because they know they're not. They're assuming I'm going to rinse him like Frankie Boyle, like, and they just run from the. Yeah. Or you meet him and you're like, wow, God.
Yeah, I think there's two ends of the spectrum. They're like, either you have to own it, the speed right there, take it on the chin, like, you know, you put yourself out there in the public, you're going to get slagging. But like, I think there's two spectrums. People like either run from it then, or like want you to pick them up, like, like, oh yeah, talk about me there, give me a bit of you know,
of course,
yeah. So
but in that, like, when you went into all that, they're all rolling laughing, they're trying to pick, a lot of what they're trying to do is trying to, what I find is like me personally, I go, ha, that was a slip of the tongue, he didn't mean to be funny. Yeah. So I actually don't really find that funny.
Yeah.
Get to the point, Mattie, I want to hear what you got to say. But that would be me in work mode in the scenario. But I noticed, like, anything in it all, they'll try and jump on it immediately.
And take something out of context as well. Do you know?
Exactly. And I've seen Leo do it, and like, whoa, steady on horse now. You're poking something there that doesn't need poking for the sake of it, only to buy time. Because you know there's a bell. You know there's time coming on it.
No, for sure. And that's the thing now. And like, I know you've even said it at like the club, like downstairs. You know, don't take videos, because like one little clip can be taken out of context so much. Do you know? And he'd be cancelled.
Well, the thing is, like, I mean, I dare you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want the club to be seen as a bit shite. Do you know that? But I mean it for the lads too, like, because stuff will be said, and it might be in the middle of. I saw a guy. This again would have been around 2016, and he was a host. He's not a great host, but he's kind of around a long time, so he's kind of legendary status to a degree. And a comic had been up, was commenting quite a bit on herself, saying one particular thing: "How class am I? Aren't they class? I know you can't stop looking at them. They're great, aren't they?" Terrible, terrible stuff.
Oh
like.
God!
He went back on stage, and it was kind of like, "What? Us." In fairness, they are a great pair, and he literally verbatim said her line, has said it as she said it.
With that clip,
just the beginning of that sentence and the end of that sentence were taken, and you want to see the white knights that jumped on it. These, I had some kind of respect for you before, and you're like, whoa.
Lord.
Listen, like his family were getting threats and everything. You're
like, honest to God,
like. I don't know if the same girl came out to defend him. I don't know. I'm assuming she did, because in the moment everybody roared laughing.
Yeah.
So in the evidence,
the audience knew, but like whoever seen it on Twitter or wherever you've seen it.
And now the same thing. I'm like, it was kind of okay. I wouldn't have bothered myself, because that to me was someone. I've seen the set since, and I was like, well, that's one of the worst pieces of shit I've ever seen in my life. I wouldn't.
It's still bad comedy.
Yeah, I wouldn't actually double down on it by
That's why he should have got the bit of hate, because it was just bad jokes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's what he should have gotten it for. I was like, sorry, I was actually just repeating some terrible material there.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
But you're right. That's what I don't want in that moment. And also, don't be hiding behind your phone. What are you doing?
Yeah, for
People
sure.
at a concert going, I'll video this. No, be at the concert, will you?
Yeah.
And I think, and that's a big thing I notice, is that people come up and go, Jesus Christ, I didn't even think about the mortgage or my phone or my kids for 2 hours.
It's great. It's a pure escape.
Escape.
Do you know
that's
what?
It is.
That's like, it's a good mix of like kind of current affairs, current issues, and then just pure garbage.
Yeah.
Do you know?
That's it.
And it's just like your mind is just in the room. And it's,
you'll find yourself just repeating somebody who has said it funny.
Yeah.
And I'll just repeat it in their accent, because I'm good at accents or whatever. And people go, well, clearly he's a genius. I'm like, no, I'm not. Yeah. It's just we're in a funny form. But I've, like I said, I'm not highly unimpressed, but a lot of politicians that I've met, and this probably double down on why I wasn't big on voting or anything like that, because I'm like, any of them that I've met, I can't hang my hat on that, because I'm meeting seriously impressive people all the time. Like, you meet like comics and you go, Jesus Christ, you're outrageous, like you're unbelievably talented, like do you know, or you meet and then you meet this guy and you go, you're going to represent what? Oh, and by the way, you just want me to because you're no way ever going to represent me. You're going to be stuck in South Dublin forever, and you're going to represent the people of South Dublin, which is fine, but why would you want me to vote for you? Because what do I get out of the deal, man? You know? For sure,
and it's great to have you back in South Tip, Tom.
There you
We're
go.
Great. Have you joined the Register of Electors
One more
anyway.
There
you go.
Well, two more. My very South Dublin wife is absolutely tied in. She is welded to South Tipperary now.
Brilliant. I'm telling you, I know it's great, but like, I think it's gas, because like, obviously when we grew up in a family like ours, like, you know, first thing you do, 18, you're on the voting register.
Yeah.
An election can happen just like that, and like everybody has to be ready to vote. But it's funny to hear that comparison. Do you know that, like, you were never into it, like, and obviously so many people are like that, and like increasingly so, because people are just unfortunately complacent and just so sick of the shite.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Well,
and
they don't sound.
they
don't sound like us. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying you got to get up there and start effing and blinding. But at the same time,
it's a bit
let me
believe
believe that you actually believe what you were saying. Let me believe it. I'm not like let's sound like you actually believe what you're saying for a second, because the amount of it that sounds like it was literally written by somebody who'd never met you. And I'm not saying you can't be.
And that's the biggest issue, I think, with like the group think and like the party system, because it's just like I know for a fact, like, do you know, some of the legislation that goes through the Dáil, the backbench party TDs don't agree with it, because it's so against like what their voters believe in, the people who put them there. But they're just told, like, you know, grin and bear it and go in there now and vote the way we tell you to vote, or and you know, there's the door, like, and it's so wrong because it's anti-democratic.
Of course it is.
Do you know?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah,
that's,
yeah.
And like we grew up, or like Mattie was always like a Fianna Fáil TD, and that was, you know,
I remember being brought to Mattie rallies when I was young.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it's like the full 360 now.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
back
yeah.
this Saturday
Yeah,
for
this
the
Saturday,
election
yeah.
rally. Here we go again. But yeah, no, it was always like a real staunch like Fianna Fáil household. But we never then we like when Dad left, I think 2010. Yeah, it was 2009 or 2010. Just couldn't hack the, you know, being told how to vote while the country was literally going down the Swanee. Like,
see, that's I appreciate that. I also appreciate a guy just packing it in, going, I can't be dealing with this. I'm going back to farming or digging ditches or whatever. But a guy who just kind of went, Jesus Christ Almighty, this doesn't align with anything. My people who I genuinely went out and shook hands with at their door.
Yeah,
this doesn't align with anything they're into.
Yeah, for sure. And like I think, like him or lump him, like love him or hate him, whatever. Some people do hate Mattie. I get that. I know that. You know, you don't want to look at Twitter sometimes. You know.
Yeah.
But people respect that he's principled in whatever. Do you know? And I think when we grew up in that kind of household, and be like, do you know what? You stick to what you believe in, and like I think that has stood to us all. It was definitely hard sometimes because, you know, you have your cross and you carry it. You know,
and
everybody,
you don't have a party to back you, like.
Yeah, exactly. But no, that's kind of how I got into it, because I was always, you know, we knew what we like believed in or were into or whatever. So politics was just, we grew up with the shite, do you know, and we're used to it.
Like, and obviously your siblings didn't want to go into it or whatever, into it, like, and you did. You went, well, I'm all in. Did you have to build the graw for acting on behalf of people? Or were you always that, like, I'm not saying, you know, I was helping injured hedgehogs on the side of the road as a child. But like for me, like I've taken on a massive amount of graw for that room and the people that come in there, because I'm like, this is our club.
People.
Do you know, these are my people.
Sure,
like, now, I'm not comparing myself to a professional politician,
no.
But there are similarities. But I don't know, was I always that caring for people?
Yeah. Well, like, first of all, like, when I did go back in 2019, I was like, oh God, like, am I really doing this? Like, kind of, like I said, it was a really short campaign, and like all of a sudden I was elected, and I was like, oh shit, what just happened? Like, oh, I'm now a public representative. And I actually found kind of like an identity crisis at the start.
Right.
Genuinely, because like normal 21-year-old on the 1st of April is a bad date to give. So
there's our Mattie moment right there now, yeah.
But like, I decided, I announced my candidacy on the 25th of April 2019. Polling day, voting day was 26th of May. So like, literally went from normal 21-year-old 24th of April to a public representative on the 28th of May.
Jesus.
Like, it was like, oh God. And I was like, how do I balance this? Because like I said, I always want to be true to myself. And I think that's why I got elected too, because I was young, was different. And like, people, do you know, you can vote from when you're 18, so why can't you elect somebody that's in a lower age bracket as well? And I definitely got that kind of a negative response too, because they're going, you're too young. Oh no, for sure. Got that a lot when I went the first time, but like 5 years on, haven't got it at all. Because no, because I've justified myself. I've done the work. Do you know, I'm on the door every day.
You're not now springing up.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
have been around.
But I wonder now, if I was going today as a 26-year-old, would they be like, oh, you're too young? Is it just kind of like a put down effect? Like, oh,
something I was thinking about even on the drive in was, maybe it's become more of a norm to see at this stage in 2024. Now, obviously you might have gotten a slap, you know, from you know, the old timers going, I don't know, she's up to it this year. Yeah. But you've been on the go for 5-6 years at it. But I also think it's more frequent, and I'd say probably more of a, like, in all facets of life now, to see people who aren't the fuddy-duddies anymore in every...
But it's so important.
You know what I mean?
Do you know? And they're like, oh, sure, why would you be going for election? And like, yeah, for sure, because it's a hard life, like, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I really enjoy it. I love working with people. And that goes back to your first question. Like, we grew up with that kind of attitude or mindset that, like, people would call to our house and be looking for help with an issue, or we'd grow up and like we're very kind of community orientated, and like growing up, like, you know, the pendant alarms for older people, you
yes,
know, this,
yeah.
And like, Dad would have went around to houses all over South Tip and West Waterford, fitting those kind of old person alarms for older people. Do you know? And that gives you a real sense of kind of importance of people who are isolated and vulnerable. Do you know? So I always had that. But like, obviously, then kind of through my teenage years, wasn't doing that as much. But you always have that sense of connection to those kind of people. And like, even people who fitted the alarms for back when I was a kid, they're still knocking about, so they're doing good. Do you know? I'm like, I remember being up here when I was, you know, a child. Like,
well, and that's it. But also, I think too, I wondered, was it, you know, when you started, because I knew you'd started young, and I was like, is it a female thing? Is it a young thing? And I think both now. Well, definitely in Ireland, I suppose, for you know, since the dawn of Mary Robinson, shall we say, and I suppose everybody's respect and sphere of the likes of Margaret Thatcher and stuff. So I don't think maybe it was, well, maybe it was, you know, the old boys club kind of a thing. But I think it's when you look at, there's CEOs now, 25, female.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You know, it's not an odd thing anymore to see a woman running the show in a thing.
For
you know,
sure, absolutely not, and like, which is good.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not one of these like, I hate the patriarchy.
I don't
kind
feel
of,
you ever pulled a woman card.
No,
like,
and
you know,
I wouldn't. I'd hate myself if I did.
Yeah.
Because like,
it's the softer
people
option
say,
to play on.
like, we vote for the pale, male, stale candidates, you know, and I'm like, well, Mattie's kind of pale, male, stale, so, and I'm, you know, I'm happy when people,
I'll be pale and stale, but,
and I just think that's such a stupid, like, comparison or something,
course,
stupid thing for people to say, because, like, at the end of the day, like, the electorate vote for who they want to vote for, so, like, by insulting an elected representative, you're insulting the people that voted for them, and, like, you're already, you're off on a bad start if that's what your line is. Oh, vote for me because I'm not pale, male and stale.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
But like, at the same time, would never like think I like pull the woman card.
Yeah.
And I'm not into like gender quotients or anything like that. But my age was definitely the one that was kind of the biggest concern.
Right.
It wasn't like gender. Because I was 21, and that's what people would have said, you're too young, blah, blah, you know, whatever. And I appreciate that people said that, like, and that's a fair enough point. And, like, a lot of it came just out of concern. Like, you know, do you really want to be getting into that? But I think my age is a positive and absolutely, like, has helped me. And it engages a whole different cohort of people.
Well, I noticed your speed of... For me, I everything's at 100 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? I put in an 80, 90 hour week, no problem. Like, but I need things and cut out all the fluff. Yeah. And anytime I had any connection with you, it was like, 10 to 11 at night, because that's where I'm still at. Yeah. You're still at it. I'm like, that's the politician person. That's exactly what I thought a politician should be. Yeah. Is rapid, on it, no fluff. And I went, well, obviously that's what comes with being in your 20s. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
You know,
and it does bring a different energy and as well a different perspective on things, because like, do you know, the comedy club is class. It's good to have different things and just open your mind to new things. And as well, like, do you know, on the way in, I was running late, sent you a voice message. Yeah. I love voice messages.
Yeah, they're class.
Like, some people hate them, and I can be prone to the podcast voice message sometimes. But like, a lot of people like would communicate with me in non normal ways, or not the typical like email, a really formal email. Like, people who need something know that they can just send me a text. Yeah. And then I'll be like, okay, I'm going to send you a voice message back just to explain this, because it suits me. It mightn't suit them, but you're getting it because... but like, those kind of approachable ways of connecting to the electorate. Well, do you know, it mightn't be the typical electorate.
No, I loved it. I loved it. I loved the informality of it. It was like, this is exactly the person of... Yeah. You know, the elected person that I thought you should be. Yeah. Never felt that before. Like that, like we were talking beforehand when I was registering to vote. Yeah. Now, you brought a form. Mattie sent out forms because the old man was talking with him the other day going, all right, send out, because my owl fella's an owl fella. Yeah. Your owl fella's an owl fella. Forms of all sorts, the amount of paper. I registered in 3 seconds online. Like, you know what I mean? Like, registered for myself and Natasha.
But it's brilliant because, like, you know, I'm on, on the doors at the moment, and I have my canvas card, but, like, people are like, I'm not registered. And I'm like, look, I have a QR code there in the back to scan it straight on. I was like, what's that? How'd you do that? Do you know, like, your QR code?
Also, which you see them on the posters, and I've noticed now that you don't even need to go to like a QR reader. If you just take a photograph of it with your Android phone, I don't know about iPhones, it'll take you straight to the website.
Yeah,
anyway.
same. Just open it on the camera.
Because heaven forbid, when you do type it in, because obviously building a house and stuff like that, you end up having to look at all the government forms.
Yeah,
and when you
I know.
are self-employed, you look at all the government forms.
Yeah.
So they have layered things, hidden in things. So sometimes you could see why people would be daunted by it. They're going, Jesus Christ, this doesn't say anything about action. You know.
Yeah.
But you know when the bullshit filter comes on from looking at all this, it was very quick for me, but you could see how people would go, Mattie or Máirín, drop out a form there.
You could, for sure. And like there's definitely like pros and cons to it, and like I'm sending out forms all the time, but also people are like, oh, QR code, I do that there now. Do you know? So it's just actually being able to adapt to the right audience. So you tell, just like you reading the room, like you're like, if I meet somebody under 40 years of age at the door, like here's QR code. If I meet somebody north of that, I'm like, I'll send you out a form if you want.
Yeah.
That's not me being ageist, by the way, disclaimer. There's some people who are over 40 and know how to use a QR code.
I thankfully the people that listen to this podcast are sound.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
yeah,
They
exactly.
They won't pick between the bones. I don't think I've gotten one complaint in almost 300 episodes ever.
Exactly. Well, there you go.
From the outset, just like clubs, your average person's sound. Your
absolutely.
average person's sound.
They are, yeah. And like that actually goes back to the conversation. Like, oh, do you know, how's your job? Like, you must meet a whole bunch of
Alexis,
yeah, you can say the word.
Yeah.
But you know what? 97% of people are A1, sound out, and just need a bit of help.
Yeah.
And some people are really frustrated and really angry about things in the country right now, and I can't blame them because I can feel it too. I'm still living at home, would love not to be saving to build, to buy. God only knows when that'll happen. But do you know, most people work hard. They just want to do what they want to do when they, as soon as they can do it, and want a bit of help when they contact us. Sometimes you get them at the wrong time of the day or the wrong end of the stick off them, but after a while you just have to take them at face value and say, trust that they're just being genuine, looking for a bit of help. That's why we're there. Well,
I think that's probably something I've learned in I'm becoming more and more sympathetic to people. Maybe it's because I've gotten nicer since having a child. My wife is a very nice person, but I've noticed that you could nearly pick most people apart and go, I've caught you at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or, Jesus Christ, nobody held your hand at all, did they? You know what I mean? Like, it's rare you meet somebody that's to the core evil.
No,
they're
absolutely. They've been dealt a hard card in life, and like I see that a lot, and it's really, really hard because, we all wake up in our mornings, we're like, oh, this thing is a problem, that thing's a problem. There's not a bother with us.
Nothing.
When I see, when you deal with some of the cases that you deal with, that I deal with on a daily basis, it's like, do you know what, we're blessed, genuinely.
Yeah.
And that's when you really count your blessings, and when you're able to help somebody in any way, because like I think even the role of a counsellor can be so, like, I mean a counsellor in political terms, not counsellor in like psychotherapy terms, like, you're dealing with all sorts of issues. And sometimes I'm like, this counsellor needs a counsellor. Because you deal with so much. But no, it's a really rewarding job as well. Because like when you're on the doors as well, you're meeting people that you've helped, or they're like, oh, you helped someone. And someone that's removed from them a few, like a good bit. Like last night, they're like, oh, I've never met you, but you've helped such and such belonging to me who's belonging to them. And that's why I'm voting for you, because...
Well, even I was talking to a couple of guys today who are, trades or whatever, and I was explaining this, that, the other, and we're like, who is this? And you knew by them, they'd never crossed their mind. Politics hadn't crossed their mind. They're like, oh, this is somebody who actually thinks about us and the things that we... I went, yeah. Believe it or not, they're out there, because the only ones you see are on telly in South Dublin. Do you know what I mean? The only, heaven forbid, okay, there's Mattie, but like he doesn't get all the airtime. Who gets all the airtime? Representative of rural Ireland are the fucking Healy Rays. I'm like, I was in Cllr last week, and nobody wanted to even hear about him. I was they're hamming it up, lads.
I know.
Nobody speaks like that. Nobody. And only God above can make it rain.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
No, if you go down into the core down there in Cllr, you'll find that the real Healy Rays. I mean, that's their crew.
That is their crew. But Jesus, you know what I mean? You're going, steady on. Some of us have seen the outside world.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We don't all think like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
And friends of mine from Dublin are looking at going, clearly that's everybody from beyond the Red Cow.
We're all a party, like.
We're all
eating
eating slurry sandwiches. Do you know what I mean? That's what we're doing.
God.
Do you know? But thankfully, then, like you have the likes of you. So I need to know, councillor. What is a councillor then, and what is a TD?
So councillor is local government public representative on like Tipperary County Council is what I am at the moment, going for re-election, obviously. So hopefully this will probably air before the election, but for any listeners after June.
We'll put it out this Friday.
Yeah.
We'll put it out this Friday.
So that's councillor. I deal with a lot of issues, housing, planning, like community, local issues, roads, typical councillor pothole problems.
I know we've had a lot of road talk.
Yeah, we sure have. And like you see my Instagram stories. This is why I have 2 Instagram pages as well, because
of course.
When I was like, okay, if I'm doing this seriously, I will lose all of my friend followers because I'm putting up about potholes, trees down, roads flooded, and people are sick of me. Do you know, like truly sick of me? Like,
yeah, and you have to put it out there. You have to go, hey, this is an injustice. Like, we need to get a culvert or something done with this road. Like.
Yeah. But like, it's just like a source of information as well. Do you know, ESB, whatever it is.
Yeah.
People just come to you, and like as well, they're like, I think people can ring and be like, I haven't a clue. Can you do anything about this? But you might just tell me where I can go.
Yeah.
So that's local councillor, very local, low level stuff. And then you've kind of your development plan and planning and all that crack is where I really enjoy, find it really interesting. Obviously then a TD is more national. It's member of the Dáil.
Yeah.
And it's meant to be more legislation and things like that. Ireland is really parochial though, because they don't see the differences really between TDs and councillors.
Yeah.
So like, you know, people go back to the term of parish pump politics all the time because that's your electorate. So the issues that are happening on the ground is the issues that you're going to bring to the national parliament.
Yeah.
So I don't find nothing wrong with that. It's just important that you have the balance, that you raise your issues, but you also raise the national issues. Because,
yeah, of course.
But the thing about it is, like, an issue that might be happening here in Cllr, or like that business people in Cllr are having, another town in rural Ireland somewhere is probably facing the same thing.
I can tell you right now, because I'm in every part of this country.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
Exactly.
It's
so
slightly different accents, but it's exactly the same. People feel the exact same way. Once you're, and I've tried to tell friends like this who are Dublin and Dublin based. They say, and they were like, well, why don't you? I'm telling you now. Have you ever lived and been from West Roscommon? Do you think they feel any way connected to Leinster House?
But totally disconnect, because they're like, but you're like, we'll put up like, we'll make a carbon tax, but like, sure, you can just get on your public transport. Be like, public transport.
It's like your man, what's his name? Ryan.
Eamon.
Like, that drives me mad that he has a Ryan surname, which would suggest there's somebody related to him from Tipperary.
Oh no, yes, his grandparents are
God.
like, and this is well known. I'm not leaving out any state secrets. They're from Arlo, only over the road from you.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, he's suggesting that maybe rural villages could just share a car. You're like,
no, come on.
Get out of my face.
Yeah. So like Kappa Gates now, every morning you're all like gathering around in the road to Cllr. You know?
Yeah. Who's having it today?
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah,
can you imagine? And then you have the literal parish pump things. We're like, this fella doesn't talk to that fella across the road because, they share a ditch and something happened a couple of years ago. Well,
you're
how's that going to work?
You're probably going to get loads of pats on the back for the road that I just built.
Yeah.
Because everybody keeps on going, county councillor, great for building this road. But I built this bit.
Oh no, we'll get it fixed.
The next bit will be the county council.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me though, maybe this is what I've been looking for then in politics, is that I never, on a national scale, sure, I just feel too small in that sense, that I don't feel I would actually have an effect, or maybe I'm just too cynical, but it seems very visceral. Maybe that I'm just that kind of a person that I can only deal with the visceral in front of me. That I can't really buy the hype.
Yeah.
I can never buy hype. I remember walking out of an Eminem concert because I was like, well, this is shit.
Yeah.
This is way better. Like, I'm 700 yards from a tiny Eminem, and this is, so I can never buy into the hype. So I never really, in politics, I never felt it relatable to me. But as soon as I got to know you, this is exactly what I thought. So for me, councillor, and I would advise anybody just
find your local councillor, and this is probably a phrase, I should phrase that differently. There's something more, actually, that sounds a bit more original, because that's a big thing. I know, I've noticed, if you're not original in things, it's a hook that you won't catch people with.
Yeah, for sure.
Like just saying the same thing. Contact your local councillor. That's shit. Listen, find the same version as Marie in your local...
Maureen.
Who's this Marie woman? Maureen. Actually, one of my best friends is married to Máirín McGrath. Colin Geddes. He's a comic who will be coming here. He's from Belfast. He's king of the north.
I'd love to meet another Máirín McGrath.
She is Máirín McGrath. Well, she became Máirín Geddes. But find your equivalent of Máirín. And just, I swear to God, if they're some way plugged in, at least they'll know the road you're talking about. Do you know the heart condition you're talking about? The flooded scenario or whatever. And it has some way. At least you're talking to somebody who might care.
Yeah, I know, and I appreciate that, Tom. Thanks a million, because like what I think is important, like I said, I'm still only 26, but like when I'm out, people don't bother me because they actually see that, like, okay, she's just normal. She's fairly relatable. Yeah. She's out. Like, nobody wants to be talking about their job, at 11:30 in a smoking area of some pub. Do you know? But like, I've got that so many times where people are like, do you know what? It's great that you can just go out, switch off. You're a normal person. But if they come up to me and ask me something, I'm like, oh, you just send me a text there.
When you also give off from the get-go, you give off the aura of, or at least the image of somebody who is in it for genuine reasons. There doesn't seem to be this polished, shiny-headed, this look where you're like, well, you're a character that I see, and I feel like I can attack you as a character.
Yeah.
Because, and I have to say something, like if I hate bringing it up twice on my podcast, but if Eamon Ryan walks into a place, he may get it, like, and because he paints himself as this character, rather than just coming across as a man who can, who can actually contribute to something. Like.
Yeah, and like, the thing about Eamon is he's a really genuinely lovely guy when you get down to talk to him, and it's funny because people's political
doesn't come across.
Ideologies can really just take them, to a total different level, which is sad too, because like I think being on the council or like from my time like working in the Dáil and meeting the politicians, like everybody's normal at the coalface.
Yeah, just like I guess
they are, but like then like what you say is a lot of them just put on this face and like put off this aura of like, oh, I'm a cool, slick politician, and I hate it. I cringe at it.
Yeah,
and
it is very cringy.
I see them like cringy on TikTok or Twitter or wherever.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm just like, TikTok is my safe haven.
Yeah,
stay off
it's
TikTok. Where I go
I want to see at
night time to like just get out of real life.
And of course your algorithm knows, and it's like, I'll show you everything from God.
I know, and I was like, nope, like, I know, in fairness, and I have like all my campaign team like, you have to put a video up on TikTok, and I'm like, please don't make me do it, because I'm like, no, it's my safe space.
Yeah, it's my.
That's
where
what? I go
for that too is admirable. Again, it's the wrong word. It's like it's redeeming as a politician to go, yeah. You're not just jumping in everybody else's pool going, hey guys, so we're going to have a party? Yeah. I'm really cool. You're like, no, can we just chill?
But that's
can we have some chill, please?
I think people are like exhausted, whatever kind of word you'd use, but just kind of fatigued from political shite.
Yeah.
Over the years, like saying all these things are going to happen, hasn't happened. Like housing and planning are probably the two biggest issues that I deal with as a councillor. And we have so many people who are like in their 20s, 30s, even into their 40s, who aren't or can't get on the housing ladder.
Yeah.
Do you know? And it's not fair, because it doesn't matter. Like, they are working. Do you know? They're paying their taxes. They're contributing to society. And they're like, what more can I give?
No reward.
Do you know? No reward. And I'm always saying, I don't think that there's enough of an incentive to work anymore. Because they're like, why do I work anymore? Do you know?
If you absolutely put it down on paper, you go, an alien travelling in from another world would go, oh, you're insane for working.
Yeah.
By the way, you're absolutely insane for working.
And that's what I think is just really, really sad, because anybody who can, that contributes to society in a meaningful way, and like, don't get me wrong, there is people who can't work or don't work, and for legitimate reasons,
and still deserve
a break.
Like.
Absolutely. But sometimes people just say, nah, genuinely hard workers come into me, and they might be like a single parent or whatever, and they're trying to get on the council list because they can't afford on their own to like couples can't afford on their own to get on the housing ladder.
No.
And they're like, do you know what? I'm better off reducing my hours in work or leaving my job so I can then get on like the council list. And I just think that is
so backward,
so wrong.
Oh
just
my
so
God.
wrong. Like that people would have to think that way or encourage people to go that way is just wrong in a society. Do you know? And I think we've just gone. That's why I think going back, like that's really deep. But like people see political stuff on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. TikTok is sacred.
Yeah.
Do you know? People just want to see random, deep, scary rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Like if they go down recipes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like God knows what they see, but
Barbecue
they don't
recipes
think,
mostly for me, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff about the Roman Empire pops up a lot. It's just, you know.
So like, that's what they don't want to see. They just want to have a break from all that because they're fatigued that the promises that have been made over the years haven't come true. Like, do you know? And there's like, just give us a break.
So do you have, as a councillor then, do you have to, are you asked your policies at the door? Like, well, I mean, what is, like if you've never met me before, I've, you know, and we're like, oh, cool, great. But tell me, what are your policies? Will they vary from somebody else? I mean, getting to know you, like, okay, you're a hardworking, genuine person, so chances are you're going to try your ass off to get these policies across the line. But how do you make yours sound, other than actually literally sounding genuine? Like,
so like my housing is one of my biggest things, and I like help a lot of people with social housing. That's great, but where I think is unfair is like we don't have affordable housing. That's for the middle income, the young professionals, the people who are, you know, 30s trying to get on the housing ladder. Like, there is no such thing as affordable housing. And other counties have affordable housing schemes. Tip, we don't yet. And, like, that's something that I've really tried over the last couple of years. And we're just starting to do that.
Right.
But, like, then you have the kind of overhand, like, the overreach of, like, national policies. But, like, oh, no, but you have to start in the big towns, Clonmel, Thurles and Nina first. But I'm like, but no, Cllr needs it. Yeah, Cllr needs it. And every village needs it, because that's what keeps rural villages alive as well. Is keeping our young people there, keeping them in the schools there, keeping them going to the shop, the pub, do you know, the chipper, whatever it is. And like that's so important that we rejuvenate rural Ireland in that way. But like again, it's the overreach from national policies that breaks my heart.
That must be a killer.
Yeah, it really is. And then it goes on to planning. Like you know, it's difficult. You've jumped through a lot of hoops, and like then you have kind of lack of common sense policies where like, you know, you're not allowed to build a modular home, or you know, like a lot of people know about the case over in New Inn, which is
absolutely sent me over the edge.
Oh my God, me too. And
we went to the protests and stuff. Like it was just, oh my God,
no, scandalous. And for listeners who don't know, it's a guy who has a log cabin on his own land. Do you know, his own land, you know, sitting there happy, it's connected to all the services, and like there's just two small issues with his planning, that he hasn't got his retention permission. Oh yeah, look, it was firstly done without planning, that's fine, but like retention is a mechanism for getting planning, you know, but he's just been put through the ringer for getting planning, and I'm like, he's literally building on his own land, and like I'm good friends with Sean. I've helped him along a lot of the way, so he wouldn't mind me saying this, and it's well documented.
Of course, the whole country knew it.
And it's still ongoing. But like, where it just gets me is, okay, so he's being prosecuted, or you know, because he's in an illegal dwelling or whatever, an unauthorized dwelling is the correct term. So he's facing homelessness or jail. So if the judge demands that he has to take it off the land, he then has to apply for housing somewhere. So who does he apply to? The council. I'm like, come here, I already have enough people onto me looking for housing. This guy he has it sorted. He's helping himself. And that's where I'm saying, like, the normal people who are just helping themselves just need a break. You know, and like that's just what gets me so much. Then there's like the normal roads, waters, businesses, just in like small businesses.
So I suppose, when you list out these scenarios like small businesses and stuff like that, and I will be like, I'm going to be melting your head over the next 12 months.
It's okay,
because there's a lot coming. Like that's
good. That's why we're there.
Well, between businesses and stuff like that, my plan is to, as somebody, I never thought about it, and we were at a communion party at the weekend, along with that road and the club and a couple of other things. But a guy just turned and went, Jesus, you're great to have as a neighbour. You've actually made a positive impact when you landed here. I went, that's exactly what I think I need to do. Shouldn't we all try to do that? At least try and make it positive. Not for a pat in the back, or not that they go, that fella's sound, but at least, Jesus Christ, try and do something if you can. If you're physically able to do it, should you not? Like, so.
And that's where, like, I think, like, Ireland is built on, like, volunteerism. Because
100%.
we have community groups in every village and every town that are the backbone of our country.
Yeah.
Like, you know, be it like they run the local hall, they do the local tidy towns, they do whatever they do, but they make the country better, and they make their community a place that people want to live in.
And it's easy to sneer at these things. I did a lot of acting coaching around teaching acting in these communities around, or these, I suppose there were fundraisers and stuff like that. And you're just going, every time it caught me off guard. I was like, you're class. Jesus Christ, you're in here with no backing, nothing, and you're making me sandwiches. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
for
Jesus
sure.
Christ,
But you know, that is the real Irish spirit. Like, it's just, you help people out, and it's so genuine, and it's great. Like, when people do come back and want to give, but it's hard then when they come back and want to give but aren't allowed because they're hit with some red tape that they can't build, or they can't do this, or they can't do that. Do you know, it's just, like, it's so wrong. Like, it's just, we're so ruled by, like, ridiculous bureaucracy. It makes people want to leave.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm 26. So many of my friends are in Australia.
Gone. Yeah, of
God,
course they
like,
are.
you know, Christmas Day this year, I'm like, I was waking up to watching everybody's stories in Bondi Beach.
Yeah, of course.
Like, class. Like, but, you know, it's sad though at the same time, because, like,
why should they have to?
Do you know? So that's where people, like, think are disappointed, and now, like, getting into that anger, do you know, and frustration, and that's where we are kind of now as a country, which is sad, because Irish people are such good people. They don't want to be there, but they just feel so irritated with you know.
And unfortunately, there's an out, i.e. Australia, where you can go and not maybe hide or whatever, but you can turn a blind eye to just the scenario at home. But I heard it's maybe not great, and there'd be a lot of red tape to try and get around it, but I heard a good incentive for young couples building was DVAT products that they're buying.
Oh.
Yeah. 23% VAT of all the products that they buy, because products are going through the roof.
Yeah, like, it's so expensive. It's crazy.
Like, Jesus Christ, I'll get a box of screws this week. They're time and a half next week. I know. So, but it was just, I went, oh yeah, that's literally something that the major government could do if you qualified for that scenario. It would be at least one to say.
And you know, even like there's like the vacant homes grant. Do you know that people are doing up old houses and stuff? It's great. And I think, like, but they've just the smallest little tweaks that they need. Yeah. Do you know, like, you have a 13-month window for approval to do your works. Like, why? Do you know?
Well, especially given how hard trades are to get your hands on.
Exactly. Like, do you know, it's ridiculous. And, like, as well, then you have to do all your work before you get any of the money. Like, I'm like, why can't you just do a few bridging payments?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Because, show you the invoice.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, it's just, it helps people along the way rather than making them feel that it's another hoop to jump through.
Yeah.
Do you know? And I'm on like one of those Facebook groups for that particular grant, because every day, like, people ring me and ask me different things about it. Yeah. And I learn as much of other people's, you know, experiences and get so much insight out of it. And I find it really interesting, because I'm in that kind of mindset now myself, you know, as a young person wanting to build or do whatever. And they're like, someone just made the comment, they're like, why do we have to try and continuously prove ourselves, and rather than someone trying to put out the hand and help you? Do you know, it's
I don't think I've ever felt that before. I don't think, now that you just said it, I'm going, wow, I have never felt that before.
It's like the ladder is constantly being lifted, like the extra step away from you, rather than a hand being extended.
Well, I say that though, but as soon as I got on to you immediately, like, I sent you an email, and I think it was like 10:30 at night, you came back and went, and I said it to Natasha, it was across the table, and she was like, Jesus Christ, finally somebody who's a freak like us. Do you know what I mean?
I know, it's sad.
No,
it's really sad.
It is, but I don't think once upon a time I always said sad, but it's like, well, why, if you have the engine, why not help? Like, I have friends who just cannot go longer than 8 hours in a day. But if I can give them a hand, no problem. I'm there till 11 o'clock at night. Like, you know what I mean?
And you know what? But that's the other thing, I suppose, about my job. Like, I'm flexible. I'm able to, like, it suits me sometimes.
Pop into the hill to do a podcast.
Pop into the hill to do a podcast. Yeah, exactly. But as well, just send an email, send a voice message whenever it suits me. And like, people appreciate that too, because they know like you work on social hours or whatever. But like at the same time, I'm like good to switch off, which is very different to the older typical politician, which is like 24/7 as soon as you walk in, and very different to even dad. Like, you know, you walk in and you have to go around the room and meet everybody. And like sometimes I'm not. I'm allergic.
Yeah.
I'm walking into the pub, head send me down. I'll say hello, but I'm going to my friends, and I'm switching off. You just, you know, you have to, because that's when you become a crank. You know,
also those people that if it's in a pub or a place of recreation, they're supposed to be enjoying themselves too. Hey, don't be bringing up the things that annoys you.
Exactly. Just switch off.
Yes, you switch off too.
Like, send me a message on Monday. We'll talk about it. We'll go from there. But like, everybody when they're out of work should need to switch off. Yeah, because that's what keeps us sane. Yeah, do you know? And everybody should just be getting into doing what they want to do. Like,
they should get into stand-up comedy. That's what they should get into. Yeah.
Like my lecturer said that first day in college, don't be afraid to pursue other interests. Okay,
Playboy or not Playboy, it's your own choice. But
exactly. So it's definitely a varied role, but I love working with people, and people are good. People good crack.
It's
and
definitely come across in this episode anyway. So, and I cut across you, but because I didn't want you to. Your policies clearly are that they would seem to be everything that your average person that you would meet needs. Like you rocking up and going, well, you know, I'm thinking about bringing big industry here to South. You're like, Jesus Christ, I don't know what to do with that. Thanks very much. But, and maybe my son will get a job in 30 years' time. Like, but what, you know?
That's it. Do you know what? And a lot of my job is like old people and older people's grants. Okay, like they come to me and they're like, I have a bath. My hip is done. I can't be hopping in and out of the bath. I need to put in a shower. This is the lowest. That's
an amazing amenity to have. Is you who can do that for them, or at least point them in the right direction.
I get the grant, and I'll sit down with them and go through the grant step by step, and I love it because it gives them a whole new quality of life, and you know what? It prolongs their time at home as well, because they're like, I can still live independently. I just can't hop in and out of the bath. So if I can take out my bath, put in a shower, get a grant to do it. And I'm like, more power to you, because you know what? You've worked your whole life. Yeah. You've paid into the system. You deserve something back. Do you know what? If it's only something as small of a grant for €8,000, whatever it might be, they get it done. And like...
And you can put them in contact with Barry to get a new hip too.
Yeah, exactly. I know, I mean, but the thing about Barry is... Barry's not going to
Barry's going to love this.
Yeah. We're not mentioning any second names. But like, Barry came to our office because there's this cross-border system where you can go to the north, skip the queue in Ireland to get your hip done.
My mother did it with her foot.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go up there, skip the queue, and you pay it up front. You can get it like the credit union give bridging loans, and then the HSE reimburse you. Yeah. And you skip the queue. Yeah. Do you know, which is bizarre because our waiting lists are so ridiculous down here that people are doing it, but it's great. You can do it for braces. I'm just going to give a infomercial here, but you can do it for
amazing,
braces,
actually, for anybody
cataracts, any sort of medical procedures.
Wow.
You go to any of the private hospitals in the north, and you get 80% reimbursed.
Yeah, I think it's
not 100% reimbursement.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good for like skipping the queue. Like,
and Belfast's a great city to go and have some food in.
We're 3 hours up the road. Do you know it's?
I went after the Dunishka gig. I went straight to Belfast and did a gig.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, you know, like. I know I'm again not selling this, but it's. I remember I drove. I don't know where I was in Derry. Was I in Derry? Yeah, we're in the Millennium Forum in Derry, and I said something, and it was kind of I went, what? I called it North of Ireland. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of the people there would call it that too, but a few of them were like, oh. I went,
we know who this guy is. Yeah.
What? I turned my car on in Tipperary, pointed it up the way, and stopped here. Yeah. No dimension had to be changed. I didn't have to get on a boat.
Yeah, no time zone.
I'm in the north.
You're in the north of Ireland.
Ain't getting political, but I'm in the north of Ireland.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. But that's another thing that just we do a lot of those kind of referrals or tell people the information for the cross-border system. It's just like bizarre,
but it is there.
Have to do it, but it's brilliant, and that's why. Like, a lot of the time, I'm just a resource of information. Like, the most random information.
No, I tell you, and that's the brilliant thing. And like I said to anybody, a lot of people aren't going to be from South Tipperary, but if you are, you know what to do. But go find your equivalent
Yeah.
to you, because I had no grasp. When you hear counsellor, I just thought, oh, court case stuff, I suppose. I had no grasp. And then it was only, my parents had said, oh, get on, well, Mattie's daughter. I went, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Right, let's see what oh wait, she knows everything about all the silly things I need to know about on a personal level. Which is, let's be honest, everybody listen to this, you're only living on a personal level.
Absolutely. It's
so
the
why be
normal
sweating
stuff.
the big stuff?
Yeah. Don't sweat the big stuff. We can't do anything about it.
We can't. We can't.
Exactly.
Elon's going to take over everything.
Bring it on. I'm like, can he do a worse job than what we're going through right now?
I don't know.
No, like, maybe we'll cut that part out. But no, but yeah, that's it. The job is so varied, but it's the small scale stuff that people just appreciate, that little bit of information, or that little bit of guidance. Do this, don't do that. This is who you should look for. There's a grant for this, there's a grant for that. Do you know? It's just, it's a mental job, but I enjoy it, and I enjoy people.
In all fairness, I applaud anybody for giving it a go, but knowing what I know about intense stuff, Jesus Christ, like something like politics, and so many people coming at you from a personal point of view, you would want it in your veins. Really, I believe something like that. There's no nepotism in independence. That's what I love too. There's like, what? You can run, kid, but I got nothing for you other than advice. You know what I mean? There's no, but also, well, either way, maybe in that sense, like nepotism even would work in the party scenario, because you're going, they have it in their genes to be able to deal with this much. Like Natasha was, she's going, Jesus Christ, I would start crying every day because it, and it would. No,
don't worry. I do have my days where I shed a few tears. I'm just like, please, someone take me out of this life. But yeah, no, I should definitely. But like, it goes back to like, I just consider myself just a normal 26-year-old.
Yeah, but
when I first seen my poster on the pole at the last election, I swear to God, I nearly crashed the car because I closed my eyes. I was like, this is mortifying. Like, I just,
very un-21.
mortifying. And you, like, people send you snaps, like,
of course, drawing a moustache.
Oh my God, and like, I remember one guy the last time put it up, like, he must have forgot I was friends with him on Snapchat, but like, put up that like he took my poster away, like, and I just like replied back, I'm like, here, look, just put it back. Dude. I know you took it, like, I know where you live, so. And like, the other thing about my job is like, people my age, they don't necessarily have a lot of reasons to get onto me, but their grannies. I know all of their grannies, and it's friggin' ridiculous. Or their parents, and like, I'd be out and I'm like, and it's just kind of like an awkward barrier sometimes, because like, do you know what? I know your parents and your grandparents so well, but like, how do we bring this down a level? Do you know?
So, how's Nana doing?
Yeah. Yeah, and like, does she like that new bathroom? How did it go? Do you know? She got her new windows and doors.
Yeah, you have too many conversation fillers about their parents and their grandparents.
And it's so weird. And like, my friends, like, and do you know, we'd be out and I'm like, lads, I can't go over and talk to them because like, their granny was talking to me about something personal during the week, like, do you know?
Oh, Jesus Christ,
like, it's just like the elephant in the room so many times.
Well, you know what? It would seem that it's not taking its toll on you. You know how to find the balance of it too, and you are actually a human, which is nice because, like I said, I've met more on the TD side of things. I've met TDs who are like, Jesus Christ, did they make you in a lab? Did it make you in a lab? Even your handshake looks like it was prescribed. So. Yeah, thank you for it. Like, literally, I caught you. Your phone is going to go into Kim Kardashian meltdown when you turn the flight mode back off this. So
well, particularly 3.5 weeks after my election, it's just like no end to it. My family probably like, where the hell did she go? And because like when you're canvassing, you do every back road and by road. They're like, yeah, she was trapped somewhere. And someone took her in, and it goes, it's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. But when you think about it like that,
all the places you have to go in, the different houses you go into and scenarios, they probably think I'm dead.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's fair enough. I mean, look. Yeah. Thankfully, we'll get you out the other side of this, and I won't ask you for a new shower.
Yeah. Not yet. You have a few years to go until then.
Yeah. Maybe.
But your parents. They ever need a favour.
Yeah.
You know where to find us. But no, thanks for having me, and it's great to finally be in the green room.
I know.
I feel privileged.
Don't tell too many people about it. It's a normal room because they expect to see, I'd assume, I don't know, some sort of weird shit hanging off the walls or whatever. But go ahead, you know what to do, people. I can't tell you which or whether, but the evidence is there. Also, for the people not listening, start pointing your nose in the political direction, in the local scenario. Don't be worried about them ones who you don't feel related to, because I guarantee a hell of a lot of people listen to this have gone, do you know, somebody in North Mayo may go, I need to find the equivalent Máirín in my scenario.
For sure. And just on that, because if we're going out this Friday, the deadline to register to vote for this election is the 20th of May, so that's next Monday.
Yes.
So you can do it online, www.checktheregister.ie. You can register online in a couple of minutes. I think it's so important to use your vote.
I'll put that in the link in the bio of this.
It's just really important to use your vote. Some people are just so disillusioned, but I think go out, use your vote. Even if you go and spoil it, if you're like, nah, none of these candidates represent me. But when you go out and spoil your vote and you don't vote for anybody, it sends more of a message to people who just didn't even vote in the first place.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know, it shows that you want something different, you want something new, but what's there in front of you isn't any of those things that you want. So get registered, use your vote, because it's really, really important, and we're lucky to have it.
Yeah.
In the country. Do you know, some
we
people...
talked about China.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. And on that note...
the Chinese are a great bunch of lads.
Yes, of course.
Máirín McGrath, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom O'Mahony.
Thank you very, very much, Councillor. So do register to vote today. Today is the last day you can register to vote, so go do it. Find your local councillor and vote for them. Independent, I would suggest, because that seems to be a bit more aligned with what normal people are wanting these days. Anyway, like I said, subscribe if you want to become a Patreon. It's $3 hairs a month. You get the Ramble Pod, which is something I do mid-weekly purely for the Patreons. It doesn't go out anywhere but on Patreon. I do live podcasts as well with purely just the Patreons, and you get the ad-free content. If I had to give you a pay in your hole and you're like, geez, do you know what, I'd pay £3 a month just for that. Well, you get all the ad-free content over there, as well as the videos and whatnot, and we actually get to chat and interact. I don't really do much of it on social medias, but I do on over on Patreon. So the Hill Comedy Club, Fred is up next. Is the next place you can get to see Fred under my stables. He's in the Hill on the 25th, and like I said, Delamere is damn near sold out, so I don't know what to tell you about that. Maybe there's one or two left later on in June, but other than that, I'll have to talk to you again next week. Mind yourself. Have a lovely weekend. Good night, and thanks.